Welcome to Ask an Expert, where our technical product expert answers questions from our customers. Hello, this is John Appleson, Marketing Manager with Pepperl+Fuchs. So welcome, Tracy, and thanks for being here.
Hi, John. Thanks for asking.
The first question asks about the MBB4 inductive sensor and associated cable, and if they are both non-incendive. The customer has a sensor and cable in a Class 1 Division 2 environment and needs to ensure this is correct, but he wasn't able to find this information on the specification sheet. Tracy, can you advise?
Yes, the majority of our inductive, capacitive, and magnetic sensors, including the sensor this customer has, are rated non-incendive and are FM approved for installation in Class 1 Div 2 environments. We have a control drawing we can send to customers, which details the requirements for such installation. These include the need to protect the cable and wiring by following the NEC guidelines for hazardous locations. Our cord sets, such as the one mentioned by this customer, have no hazardous ratings, so they would need appropriate protection, such as enclosure in a conduit, in accordance with the NEC.
Tracy, this customer needs to know what the adjustment ranges are for the ML17 series diffuse mode photoelectric sensor. Can he detect an object at 20 millimeters and ignore an object at 30 millimeters? The customer would like to know what the best color would be for a target.
Well, the datasheet for this customer's sensor lists an adjustment range of 60 to 450 millimeters, but in general, standard diffuse mode models like this one can't be adjusted as he describes. For detection of targets at a particular range while ignoring targets at a greater distance, it's better to choose a sensor with adjustable background suppression. All photoelectric sensors detect lighter or brighter colors more easily than darker or duller ones, but a sensor with background suppression is designed to depend more on the angle of light reflected, so its black and white difference is smaller than a standard diffuse sensor. All of this means that the customer's question regarding target color really depends on the application and the type of sensor being used. When using a standard diffuse model, lighter or brighter colors are best for targets, and any objects that you don't want to be detected should be darker or duller. But when using a sensor with background suppression, target color doesn't play a big role in detection.
Tracy, this customer would like to find a sensor that can detect a 1.5-inch diameter steel pin in a steel hole. The pin, which is used to ensure that a telescoping mast cannot collapse, is a safety-critical device. If the sensor fails to detect the correct location of the pin in the hole, an alarm sounds and corrective action must be taken. If the sensor falsely detects the location of the pin, then a telescoping mast could collapse with disastrous results. This is why the customer needs a reliable sensor. He also notes that this is an oil field application with lots of vibration, shock, and extreme operating temperatures of minus 40 degrees centigrade to plus 50 degrees centigrade. Tracy, what would you suggest for this application?
Well, there's a lot going on in this application, but we can break it down and find a solution. For the detection of steel, an inductive sensor is best. These have a relatively short range, so the sensor can be mounted close to the pin in a place where it's detected when in the proper position, but as soon as the pin moves away out of its safe position, it won't be detected, and the sensor state switches. Since the pin is in a steel hole, the customer will need to select a sensor designed for flush installation in metal, also known as shielded or embeddable. And because the location is hazardous and safety is involved, I would recommend an inductive sensor with Nemours output and safety function. An example is NJ2-12GK-SN. A quick look at the datasheet for this model, which the customer can download from the Pepperl+Fuchs website, shows that this sensor has all the required specifications for operation in the harsh environment he describes. It should also be noted that this type of sensor output requires the use of an appropriate fail-safe interface unit to maintain both its intrinsic and functional safety features. An example of this is KFD2-SH-EX1.
In this next application, the customer would like to know if the NJ8-18GK-SN inductive sensor, instead of being pre-leaded, can be ordered with terminals to connect Teflon cables on site and also with an LED option to facilitate installation. If not, Tracy, then what can you suggest?
The sensor in question has an M18 threaded cylindrical housing. Some of our inductive sensor housings are available with terminal connections, but not this one. An example of one that does and has the same safety Nemours output is NJ15S plus U4 plus N. The limit switch style housing is larger than the M18 cylindrical, and the sensor has longer range. As for the LED switching status indicator, none of our sensors with safety to more output include that feature, but if functional safety is not required, we offer NCN 15-M1K-N0, which has standard to more output, an LED indicator, and terminal connection in a mini limit switch style housing, which is somewhere between the size of the M18 cylindrical and the larger limit switch style.
Well, that concludes this segment of Ask an Expert. I want to thank Tracy for joining me today and thank our audience as well. For additional information, here are 5 easy ways to connect with us.